Good morning. This is my season 2 finale, my last show of the season before I start my hiatus. It's been a great season, and I figured I would end on a kind of a funny note because I like to keep my comedy teeth sharp. And there is so much comedy surrounding the topic today, which is weddings. Now, not marriage. This is all about weddings, the wedding day. People will say, oh, it's the most important day of your life. No, it's not. It really isn't. It might be the most important day for some of your family members, like your parents or your grandparents, but it's not the most important day in your life. Trust me. I know. Oh, weddings. Where to start? Well, I will start with churches, money, and rules, because that is the most ridiculous thing about a wedding, is the rules. Premarital counseling. I mean, like, weddings aren't stressful enough, right? Some people are forced to go to premarital counseling. Like, okay, 6 weeks, you talk to the priest once a week, and what happens if the priest says, you know what, not going to marry you? What are you going to do? Call it off? No, you're just going to go, okay, we'll just go find someone else who will. Someone will marry us. And worst case scenario, the courthouse will marry us. But we're getting married, no matter what you say. Yeah, premarital counseling is a trip. The rules in some churches, and I talk about the Greek Orthodox Church a lot because it's what I know. And of course, many of you have experienced the Greek Orthodox wedding in the movies, My Big Fat Greek Wedding and My Big Fat Greek Wedding 2. Now, some of you may say, oh, that's a spoof. Actually, it's not. My Big Fat Greek Wedding, the first one, was pretty darn accurate. All the stress, and yes, people who are not Greek Orthodox Christians are strongly encouraged to become Greek Orthodox Christians. And while, as far as I know, we don't baptize adults in kiddie pools like was done to poor Ian, everything else about that was pretty true, including the families, the crazy families. Yeah, they exist. They're there. They're real. My problem with the Greek church is the fact that they don't acknowledge any wedding, any marriage that does not occur within the four walls of the Greek church. Oh, and by the way, they charge like $600 for the privilege. Not everybody wants a Greek wedding, and I'll tell you why. Once I explain it, you'll get it. Church weddings, in general, are pretty boring. Most people don't go to weddings for the church part. They go for the party part and the open bar. That's why they go. So spending more and more time in church is not something that your guests want to do. Well, Greek weddings are extremely long. First and foremost, the priest spends 30 minutes explaining to the congregation, the guests, what every icon in the church means. Like they care. Like they're ever coming back. So the first 30 minutes is a tutorial on Greek Orthodoxy, which again, like I said, you're losing them already. One rule of comedy is don't bore people. If you lose them, you're not getting them back. It's real hard to get them back. So during that first 30 minutes, people are already looking at their clock going, what time does the bar open? Gosh, I could really use a glass of wine right now. You lose them. Then they have an engagement ceremony, and the guests are looking around. Didn't we go to their engagement party like a year ago? What the hell is this? That's another 30 minutes. And then the wedding ceremony starts. And guess what? Some of it's in Greek. Like, yeah. And you know, a lot of the Greek people in the church understand what the priest is saying, because the priest is the only person who talks, by the way. The couple doesn't talk to each other. There's no vows. The priest does all the talking, and the couple getting married just does their thing. They dance around the table a few times and put crowns on their head, and then somehow they're married. But nobody really gets pronounced anything. But part of the ceremony is in Greek. Now, everybody in that church speaks English, okay? They understand English. And yet, for some reason, because it's tradition, Some of the ceremony is in Greek, and that's when you really lose your audience. When you start talking in a language they don't understand. And then people are looking around. Oh my God, I can't believe she got invited. The bride hates her. Look at that outfit. She's gained weight. Oh my God, that suit makes him look short. What time does the reception start? God, I'm so thirsty. Did you get the rib, the prime rib, or the chicken? God, I hope it's not rubber chicken. You lose them because it's boring and they don't understand a thing that's going on. I was at my stepfather, God bless his heart. We went to my cousin's wedding. It was his first Greek church wedding. And, after he took his nap, because a lot of people use a Greek wedding to take a nap, since the reception will probably go past their bedtime. It's a good time to take a little snooze. Politely, of course. Please don't snore. It offends the bride and groom and the priest. My stepfather looked at me, God rest his soul, and said, I think she just married the priest. Which is the way it kind of looks to people who haven't been to, and actually to me, I've been to a lot of Greek weddings, and I still think the bride actually marries the priest. I really do. So much tradition and pomp and circumstance, all for $600 because the church needs their money. A Greek priest actually told my mother once, they spend all this money on their reception and they give the church $100. Oh, not anymore. We're going to bill them. They get a bill now, $600 or you don't get married. And by the way, if you don't get married within the four walls of the Greek church, if you want to get married in a park or on an island, well, we don't acknowledge your marriage because you weren't married within these four walls. You're living in sin and therefore you can't take communion until you come into this church, pay us $600 and let us marry you the proper way. That's the way it works, guys. I'm sorry. I didn't write the rules. God didn't write the rules. They're not in the Bible. Man wrote these rules to control members of this particular church. That's all it's about. I have asked multiple times on this show and in blogs for someone to give me a logical explanation of that getting married within the four walls of the church, or we don't acknowledge you as married. Nobody can explain it to me. It's just a way to control people. Weddings are stressful, and I lament a lot, but this is a fun show. It's not a sad show, but I lament a lot that I didn't get a big wedding. I was planning one, but my mother was killed by malpractice during routine surgery 6 months before my planned big day, the most important day of my life, which again, it wasn't. But even before, there were problems. And I kind of think, well, everything happens for a reason. Maybe there was a reason because it was already getting stressful. I got engaged in February. And after my mother saw the ring and oohed and awed over the ring, she's like, okay, here's my guest list. She already had her guest list. And it was so funny because I looked at my mother's guest list and I'm like, there's 150 people on this guest list. Jason, my poor husband, my fiance, he hadn't even made his guest list yet. I said, you're going to give all these people free prime rib? Are you kidding me? And free booze? I went down the list. I said, Mom, who is this person? Well, she invited me to her daughter's wedding, and I used to work with her. I'm like, Mom, that was 25 years ago. You've been retired for 15 years. I don't know this woman. She's not coming to my wedding. So I had to make a rule for my mother. I'm not introducing myself to anyone at my wedding. We had a lot of friends. They were more important to us than a cousin that shares my blood, but I haven't seen or talked to in 25 years. They don't need to come to the wedding. I'm not asking them for a gift. It's not cool. Have any of you ever gotten a wedding invitation? Or a bridal shower? This happened to me, I swear to God. I get this bridal invitation in the mail, and only the bride's name is on it. And I'm like, well, this has to be a mistake. They must have put the wrong address down. There must be another Paula Kling somewhere. So I called my mom the next day, and I said, the weirdest thing happened. I got an invitation to a bridal shower, and she stopped me. She's like, oh my God, me too. I'm like, well, who is this girl? She's like, fuck if I know. So I called a cousin of mine. Did you? Yeah, I got one too. Who is this girl? No idea. It took us a week to solve the mystery that this woman was marrying one of my male cousins who not only had I never had a conversation with, but I wouldn't know him if I ran over him on the street. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm flattered that you thought of me and the fact that, of course I would bring a gift because I wasn't raised in a barn, but I'm not coming to this thing. I'm sorry. I'm not spending $100 because if you're invited to the bridal shower, you're invited to the wedding. I'm like, no, I'm sorry. I don't know these people. They don't know me. I'm not going to see them ever again once the check clears. No, sorry. Again, very flattered to be included, but not attending and not sending a gift either. Oh, so funny. Stressful, stressful, stressful. The seating arrangement. That's stress. That is some serious stress. Well, we can't sit Aunt Sally next to Aunt Susie because after a few gin and tonics, they're going to start rehashing old grudges from 30 years ago and it's going to get ugly. So you got to put Aunt Susie all the way as far away as possible from Aunt Sally or there's going to be a brawl at your wedding. Seating arrangements. Or we have to invite Jane because we invited Alice and they talk. And Jane's going to find out and she's going to know she wasn't invited. She's going to be pissed. And I'm like, so what? She's pissed. What's she going to do? Is it like, are we in Grimm's fairy tale? She's going to curse the wedding? I don't know Jane. I like Alice. I know Alice. I've had lunch with Alice on a regular basis. Alice is invited. Jane's out. Such stress, such stress. At the end of the day, let's just say this. The two most important members of the cast, and this is a show, let's face it, weddings are a show. They're definitely a show. The two stars are the people getting married. Not their families, not the priest, not the building, not even the open bar or the DJ or the band. It's these two people. And that's who the wedding should be about. During most wedding ceremonies, if they're in English, there is a part that says that when you marry, you put aside childish ways and you cut the ties to your family and tie yourself to your spouse. That's something important. That's important. Because at the end of that very long and stressful day, you are not going home with your mommy and daddy or grandma and grandpa. You're not going home with the priest. You're not even spending the night in the church you paid $600 to use for 2.5 hours. You're going home with your wife, your husband. You're going home with them. And every morning from then on out, when you wake up, they will be there. When you go to bed at night, they will be there. Your wedding day is not the most important day of your life. What came before that day and what will come after that day, that's the important times. What led up to building this beautiful relationship that you wanted to make a commitment to spend and build a life together until the day you die? That's the most important days. That's what happens. Memories from the wedding fade even before all the bills are paid for the wedding. The bills are still coming and you're busy doing other things. You're building your life. You're living your life. The memories you will make after your wedding day, they're important. They're what matter. So remember that. And remember, if you're a family member, a parent of someone who is planning a wedding, make sure you remember whose wedding it is. It's not yours. You had that chance. That ship has sailed. This is about your son or your daughter getting married. It's about them. It is not about you. So this is my last show. until the first week in July. That's when season 3 will start. I am so proud of season 2. I thought season 1 was good. Season 2 was huge. Very huge. No pun intended, Mr. Trump. We covered so many fabulous topics, important topics, fun topics, sad and tragic topics. I'm proud of every show we did. I am so proud of my viewers. I don't know why I keep saying we, though. We did. I'm the only one here. I did. I did those shows. I wrote them, I researched them, and I presented them. Yay me. Give me an award. A golden Sharpie. I am very proud of my viewers, though. Thanks to YouTube. My YouTube channel is exploding. And I have to thank my tubers. I love you guys so much. You guys, my channel now has over 330 subscribers who regularly watch my show. How proud am I about that? And some of my shows have gotten 18 to 20,000 views. Can you stand it? I am so proud of that. It has been an honor to meet so many people from all over the world over on YouTube. So proud of that. And yes, I know I've been very bad about responding to your comments. Last count, I have over 100 to read, and I've been very busy the last couple of weeks preparing for my hiatus, my vacation. But I promise you I will read every one of them. And while I don't comment on all, I do read them all. I do comment on ones that I think need a response, whether I'm agreeing with you or disagreeing. I also want to thank all of my viewers, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, for respectfully disagreeing or agreeing and not attacking people who disagree with you. I think that is one of the best things and the thing I am most proud of about my show. We don't attack people who have different opinions than we do. We respectfully disagree with them. We respectfully and intelligently debate with them. Now, there are some exceptions, but they are few and far between. And I'm very proud of that as well. Because we embrace our differences on this show. I have said before, and I will say it again, everyone is invited to my table as long as you mind your manners. That's all I ask. I don't ask anyone to agree with me. I don't ask anybody to agree with anybody else. But I do ask you to respect them. And for the most part, my viewers do that. And that's more than I can say for some of those more popular shows on things like MSNBC, Fox News, and CNN. Their viewers aren't always very respectful, but mine aren't. I'd like to think I have something to do with that. So I do. I appreciate every single one of you. If you want to watch my shows, they are always available. If you've missed a show or you want to go back and watch a show again because you loved it and it affected you some way, or you want to find a fact that I maybe educated you on and you forgot it, they're all there. They're all on YouTube. They are all able to be found on Facebook, especially on my Political Paula page. Because on Political Paula on Facebook, that page is only this show and my blogs. There's no other stuff on there. So, again, I hope that you all are very safe during my hiatus. I will be back the first week in July. I'm taking a shorter hiatus than some of your summer shows, so you're welcome. Or I'm sorry, depending how you feel about my show. So, as always, I will leave you with the mantra of this show, which Chris Adams, the singing chaplain, and I came up with, which was love shows and grows. So please be kind to one another. Embrace your differences, but never attack someone because they're different than you. Our differences make us special. And there's never anything to be ashamed of in asking a question you really don't know the answer to. There's never any shame in disagreeing with someone, as long as you do it respectfully. So, have a great, great vacation. I know I will. And please be safe, whatever you're doing. I am hoping there will not be breaking news during my hiatus. If there is, of course, I will come and report on it. But I hope, what I'm hoping for my hiatus, I hope that during the next 6 weeks or so, the world is a quiet and drama-free place. Just like I hope my hiatus is quiet and drama-free. Cross my fingers. So think good thoughts for me. I think good thoughts for you. Don't forget about me. I will be back first week in July. But for now, Political Paula is out.